So I have heard that people would like to see how can I use Audacity to play with my sound font and or create a sound font. Well, I just happen to be doing such a thing this afternoon. And I said, you know what? I might as well hit record and put on a pair of headphones because I like the way I sound in headphones. It's fun. I like talking. So I'll probably talk a lot, and you're going to maybe learn something from this. So that would be cool. And the beauty is you can always rewind and watch it again and again. So we're going to start in Audacity. I am on a Mac operating system. That is why it looks like this. Awesome. And I got Audacity open. So it is June 26, 2020, and I am using Audacity version 2.3.3. And Mac OS, whatever, staying on Mojave because I'm not losing all my 32-bit stuff, and everything works great. So this is where we start. You want to go into Audacity preferences. There's a couple of things in here you want to make sure are good. And not a lot, but a couple of things. So under input, you're going to be exporting a lot of waves, okay? And when you export, you want to make sure you're doing things. So if you have multiple tracks or stereo tracks, you want them to mix down the mountain. So just make it look like this. There's reasons for this stuff. The other thing that I can't help you with, I mean, I can give you suggestions, but you're going to be using hotkeys a lot. Yes, you can go up here to the menu, but look at this menu. It's going to take you a while to keep going up here a million times. So a couple of hotkeys are a good idea, and it really is going to increase your flow. So in here, I have tools I use frequently set up as hotkeys. You will hear me say the same things hopefully over and over again. You'll get an idea what might be a good idea to set as a hotkey. The other thing, I should have left that open, is your settings for your wave files and stuff, your sound files. So under quality, your default sample rate for a soundboard for a saber, I'm referring to mostly Profi stuff because that's what I play with, and I've done the other ones. But whatever it is, make sure you're got these set for what you want to use them on, and you can match them. I don't want to talk setup all day. I want to start doing some audio. So the point here is I'm working on making this font from scratch, all right? And spoiler alert, I'm going to call it the Maw because it's kind of black hole space. I don't know. That's what I got out of it when I listened to it. So I got these real spacey sounds. I got a spacey hum going. And I got, I got crazy swing songs going. A couple of things. So those are like buzzing, and I got a ton of swings. Harsh, metallic, crazy, hectic swings. And it's a pretty hectic sound when you're done. But anyway, when you get to the blasts, I feel like I'm watching, Tom and Jerry. Pew, pew. And that's not a cool blast. That's got some hope, But these I wanted to work on. It's kind of flappy. And I'm simply going to use some more sounds that I already have. Things I don't use force that often. And making these sounds, sourcing stuff, and mixing things. I just wound up throwing whatever in force. It's a lot of bass, like drops and pums and stuff, right? So I think I'm going to grab a couple of these and manipulate them somewhat and mix them in with some of these blast sounds, right? So I have my system set. When I double click a wave file, it automatically opens in Audacity. That's your operating system, you can figure that out. And here's the blast, right? Pew. It's pretty cute. So what I'm going to do, what you got here, let me, I guess, talk about the window here. If you're not familiar, this is all play and rewind. You'll never see me go up here. You know why? Hotkeys. Spacebar is play, okay? And stop if it's really a long line file, whatever. Click and drag highlights sections of your WAV file. You can make this a little bigger. You can make it smaller. Stuff like that. Zoom is something else I will do all the time. Zoom in is Command 1. 2 is like extremely zoomed out. So I never use 2. I just go in 1 and 3. So 1 pushes in, you can see closer. 3 pulls me out. That's while holding Command. That's probably Control in your PC world. So Command 1, Command 3. And then to view the entire wave in the window, I don't know why I'm working with such a small window. There we go. Is E for expand or everything or entirety, all right? And that was not the right button. Select all is A. So when you have whatever, so E, Command E will expand to the full size of the window, whatever you have selected. So if you really want to zoom in on just this part, you Command E while it's highlighted. Most often though, let me zoom out with Command 3, right? Most often you will probably just want to get to the entire wave filling the entire field of view. So that it's really always going to be Command A and then E, you know, Command A, Command E, back to back, Command AE, you know, that's just what it ends up being all the time. That's view and stuff. And then, if, you know, you got a scroll bar down here. And the parts of the window that are most important in my book are this guy right here. This is your VU meter. This is a digital domain and a digital audio workstation. This 0 right here is rule number 1. Never cross digital 0. You will square off the top of your nice round waves and you will have a horrible looking wave file that is full of distortion and terrible for speakers to play back. So if it's not distorting, now you'll see here the ceiling of this thing, right? This wave's going right, why can't I make my thing bigger? Right to the top, but it's still a rounded, nice wave. This is a little audio theory before we start editing the audio. So that's nice, right? Now if I amplify this with either just straight up this amplify or other tools, you'll see can also amplify. If you add an EQ and you add frequencies in some range and you take away some frequencies, but you're changing the overall volume of the whole wave. You never want to cross 0 because this is what happens if you amplify this, right? Now look, now it's going through the ceiling. It's hitting its head and it's running along the ceiling in a flat line and then coming back down. So now if I don't undo it, I'm going to actually now try to, oops, I went too loud. Let me just lower it. That'll be fine, right? Wrong. Okay, look, now you got squared waves. Squared waves sound bad, okay? And I could play a nice clean piece of audio and then send it through the roof and bring it back and let you listen to it, but I'm not gonna. You can do that. Listen to it. It doesn't sound good. Command A, E, so I can see everything. Look, it's all flat. It looks like a Linkin Park song. That's no good. You don't want everything just balls to the wall. So leave some dynamics in it. Never go over 0. That's the long story short. So I'm going to undo, which is Command Z, just like every other program. Okay, I'm just going to go back until this disappears, which means I went one step too far. And if you look at the undo, the option is import. So the opposite of undo is redo, which means hold shift while you Command Z. Okay, so I'm going to shift Command Z and undo. Now I'm back to where I was, bringing this wave in here to start. I hope this is at least entertaining because it's certainly going to be freaking long. All right. These are your tools. Primarily, you'll see me just using these two tools. This one is the selection tool. It's a little I-beam, and it selects where you click, drag, and let go. This is your move tool. This will move whatever you click and drag on, left and right. So you'll see later as we align some tracks and stuff, sometimes we'll be using this. I'll be doing a lot of selecting and then sliding, really. That's really it. This is a multi-tool. You can use 8 different buttons on the mouse and have it do everything with one tool. That is not my bag, baby. I will chop something in half real quick the wrong way doing that. So I'm not doing that. Let's look at the problem here. So our sound, right? I'm hitting play. I'm going to select all. Actually, I'm going to undo because I moved this thing all over the place. I'm going to select all, Command A. I'm going to hit play, spacebar. Play, spacebar. Okay. So it's got a tune, it's got a thud, and then it's got a trail of a wah. Right? So let's enhance that and add one of the other files. So this isn't a very bassy sound. So if I have some things that I want to add in, I probably want to counter what I'm hearing primarily, which is not thunderous low-end bass here on this blast. It's got a little tone, but nothing banging. So if I have a choice, I'm not going to add another high-frequency dominated sound. I'd like to balance it out, maybe something a little lower. And again, I said these force files are pretty much my ideal goal here. All right, let's just play with this. I'm going to open this up. This is a rough who knows. Now the first thing, and I'm just going to select all. Okay, then Command C to copy. Command W closes the window. Just Command W. And it always asks you this. Do you want to save these changes? No, I didn't do anything. I just want to get rid of that. And then I'm going to Command A and E to see everything. And I'm going to click with my selection tool, usually is what's lit up, what I got, under here, so it's not selected. And now I'm down in this section. I'm hitting Command V to paste. Ta-da, new track with the sound that I just copied. Now, this is a very long wave. Look, I'm going to scroll. I can't see all that. So I'm going to Command A to select everything and Command E to look at it all. So A and E, getting the point? And I hit play with spacebar. Well, that would be a hell of a long blast. So I don't need all that. I certainly don't need this whole thing. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to time stretch this, squish it actually. One thing you should know about a time stretch effect, you go up here to effect, you go to change. There's 3 different options to really play with in this family. Pitch will just change the pitch and the tempo stays the same. Tempo changes the duration but does not change the pitch. It's the opposite. Speed in the middle does both at the same time. So you may end up using any one of these or all of them. Right now I'm going for tempo. I want to keep this at the same sound but just a little quicker. When you're stretching out longer from a sound, it never sounds great. Do not go very far. You don't try to turn something from 1 second into like 1,000 seconds. It's unless you intentionally want to do that, which would be a cool effect, but this software doesn't pull it off very well. It's really twinkly, really artifacty. I mean, you could use it as an effect, but it will sound like it was time stretched too far. It won't be a cool effect. You could do increments a little bit and then a little more, because each time it's stretching that new created data. But if you try to create all that time with one click, it's not going to work. So small changes. Now, when you're making it shorter, all it's doing is removing samples from your wave and slamming everything back to the left and all the gaps that it cuts. You don't have any created frequencies and you don't have any interpolated sound created by the software. You're just removing part of the existing sound, so it sounds much better. You can get away with pretty much full force making it shorter. So I am looking to make it shorter here, and I have the entire thing selected, and here you can drag a slider, and the key here is your length, right? So it shows you what it currently is. It's grayed out. And this is your target. And as you slide, you just look at your time. Now, I know I want this to be somewhere around 1 second by the time I'm done. I'm not going to try to cram it all into 1 second. I will probably more likely cut the rest of this off and just use some of it, you know. So let's just take this whole thing about half. Let's put it, at 2 seconds. So I'm going to drag this back to 2-ish and hit go. All right, now it's shorter. Now it's not, and it made the vibrations closer together and stuff. So that's kind of cool. Like I said, let's say 1 second is where I want this to end. I am literally just going to lop off all this. I selected it. I'm going to hit the delete key. Gone. Now I'm going to hit play. Well, my space bar is not working, of course, because I'm trying to show something. Oh, what's happening here? Trouble. Hold on. All right. Select all. Spacebar. So there's some sound. I'm going to fade this out. This is Command G. G and D. Like D is on the left. It's fade in. You'll be doing that like on the left side. G is on the right of D, with F in the middle, obviously. But the left one, work on the left side of your wave with fade ins. The right side is G. Use the right side of your waves. And just whatever you select, it's going to fade. If you have a center section selected and you hit fade out, it does a fade out, but only where you have it selected. So this would sound, like this. And then it would come back. So just want to be at the end. The beauty is this wave, see this boundary line here? You could just click out here and start to drag, and it will fade it to the exact end of its segment. So it's kind of just like a sloppy, easy grab on the end of the wave file here. And when you're at the front, you just find where you want the fade to, be complete, click, and then just swipe all the way to the left, go to the beginning. And you can hit Command D, fade in. Let's do that. And I'm going to fade the back of it like this, Command G. And now I'm going to select all, and I'm going to fit it in. I'm going to hit play. That's fine. Now, this is the most important lesson because it goes with number 1 of the rules. Now that I have combined 2 sounds, I had this much volume. Now I have plus this much volume. So you got to look up at your meter here. This red line, guess what that means? No good. So you click it and it gets rid of it. Actually, every time you hit play, I think it goes away. It's just a peak meter showing you went over 0. That's a no-no because we've combined these 2 volumes too loud. So I have to lower one or both. Now here's the thing. Some people think, oh, we can go in here and amplify this wave down, like make it quieter. You could. But once you get a sound, these I've already done. I could go back and do a start from scratch video, but I'm not going to do that. These are good to go where they are. You might use them somewhere else. You don't want to mix, and just leave it once it's at the right volume. You've got all the volume control. This is where you mix these sounds together. You use these volumes on the left. They're little, but they work fine. So I'm going to slide this down 2 dB, and I'm going to slide this down 2 dB. It's a very small drag, and I hit play while watching my meter right here. Oh, look, I'm under 0. I'm going to select all, Command A, and now I hit play. And hear the whole thing a few times. Clearly not hitting 0 yet, so I can actually come back up. Now I'm listening to, of these 2 sounds, which one could use a bump? think I'm hearing plenty. Blah, blah, blah. Hearing plenty of that brrr, but I want a little more pop. So I'm going to put this back maybe to 0. Maybe only this had to come down. Nope. So this is the game. You ever play high or low on The Price is Right? Same thing. You hit play. Oh, too hot. I go down. Oh, I'm good. Sometimes you sit here and you walk back and forth, just hitting play each time, making sure. As soon as you go over and you hit that red, back it down 1 dB, and now it's good to go. Just do that volume as you work. You're going to add EQs, you're going to add effects. It's going to change the volumes of each of these waves. Just keep it in check so it doesn't get like out of balance and out of control. So here's a trick along with a tip. This whole space thing, it's kind of like big open space, and there is like a lot of reverb in my mind in space, even though there's no sound at all in space. So I'm going to give these some reverb, and it's basic, built-in Audacity, no fancy plugins, no anything. I have like the Apple AU patches, which are some... everything that doesn't say AU comes with Audacity already. There's like tools and all this stuff. So it's pretty powerful, gives you what you need. But the reverb is real basic, but it's fine. Now, here's what happens when you apply a reverb. You're going to wind up with echo going this way, right? This whole direction. This file, remember I was saying before, you could start out here and you select, it's only going to affect, obviously, what's in this boundary within the wave. Same thing with reverb. So if I selected this whole thing, if you double click, it highlights the whole in boundary thing. If I reverb this, the reverb tail is going to be here, and then it is going to abruptly stop before the sound finishes. So that's no good. So what you do is you need to have this area here actually be some kind of audio content. And what I do is I just put silence there. Now, yeah, you could come up here and click your start point, click and then go to generate silence and then figure out a time. Here's my quick tip shortcut. Double click one of these, Command C to copy, click up here on the edge of the old one. That's where it's going to paste from. Paste it in, and then immediately just hit Command L for, I don't know, long gone sound. It's now silence. Command L silences the wave. So that's an easy way to throw silence in, okay? And now when I select, I'm going to start like where the end of the sound is. And I want this whole region to have its space to breathe, to build a reverb tail. As far as the beginning point, this right here is clearly the hard, like beginning of the punchy sound. I don't necessarily want that in my reverb because that's like a pretty loud, it's going to overpower. I won't hear the details of the actual sound because it's going to get drowned out in the punch. So I want to find something interesting, kind of like this part, the end. It's got some tone to it. Yeah, like that, right? Let me start with just reverb on the whole thing, right? So you can hear what happens. I'm going to select this whole thing, and I'm going to reverb that. Now these settings are totally up to you. You get to preview it here. Okay. Now it's in space. It's awesome. Obviously a smaller room size will reverberate a lot less. And you can really actually hear the kind of cheesy reverb effect. I mean, it's very tinny and stuff. But, when it's big enough and low enough in the mix, it should really just be adding some ambience. It's obviously not a thing. So anyway, I have this nice little zigzag pattern going, and that works for me. You do not want to check wet only. That'll be only reverb. Or maybe you do for something. Well, that's what that does. It takes out the source and gives you just the effect. So we're not going to do that. And I say OK. And there's our reverb tail. Hit go. Well, let me mute this. Over here, look, you got mute and solo. So Solo, you'll get lost after, oh, which one do I have soloed? Just mute the one you want to not hear. You'll see it turns gray. It's easy. Okay. Now the first instinct I have here is that it's ending abruptly. Now even though you'll never hear this, I'm going to select this much, Command G. Now it's faded out. Select all, Command A. I'm going to spacebar to let play. Okay, now it fades out. Now I'm so big here, I can't see the whole thing. I'm going to Command A, and then Command E. Select all and expand to the full window. Now I can see it. There you go. So that's reverbing the whole thing. What I like to do sometimes, now just listen, you know what, I'm going to leave that. You can combine these stuff. It's like join, I think. If you want to actually make it one segment. Usually you don't need to do this. Clip boundaries, join. All right, so now it's one wave. I could double click it, copy it, paste it down here. Now I'm just going to mute the one we did. Oh no, I can't do that. Hold on. Command Z. Now I'm going to undo the reverb. Okay. I'm going to... Did I undo it? No. Oh, that was a fade. Okay, I'm back to this non-reverb version. Shush. Right? I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to Command Shift Z to redo my reverb. I'm going to redo my fade out. And I'm going to paste down here another version. So we can play with that. I'm going to mute this. Now we're back. So I can compare these. Okay, I have this here. Select all. Right, I hear how that reverb sounds. I'm going to mute that. I'm going to try one more version. And I just want this part that's going. I'm going to zoom in a little. Command 1. All right, I want not the actual attack, just that part. And I'm going to copy that. Okay. I'm going to, before I click somewhere, while this is selected, I'm going to silence this segment that I just copied in this track. So Command L. Now I'm going to go down under it, click, so I'm not selected in there anymore. Paste. I get it in a new track. I'm going to my move tool, right? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Almost. Undo. Undo. First, what you could do here is you could slice this, right? Where it is. Clip boundaries. You go split. So it's just Command I once you get to know it. I don't know what that means. Incision, I guess. And you can, now that it's split, you will have, you can have snap 2 points where these boundaries are. All right. So I'm copying, Command C. Silencing, Command L. Clicking down here. Pasting, Command V. I already got my move tool going. And now when sometimes you got to click unselect and you just click in this gray area down here. It gets rid of your selection. And why can't you do it for me? I'm trying to show people something. Select all. This. I should have music on in the background. All right. That's not working. That's dumb. That makes no kind of sense to me. Oh, there we go. I don't know. It was hanging off. See this arrow? I'll tell you went beyond the beginning. And I wasn't grabbing it right. Anyway, look. See that yellow line appears there? That's snapping to where it belongs. So now this will sound like it's all together, but it's not. So everything else is muted except these two. I hit play. Nope. Select all. Command A. Play. All right. Can't see it. Select all. Command E. Okay. Now this is the part. The point of this was I'm going to just put reverb on just the tune. So I double click to select it. But look, if I reverb it, where's the reverb tail going to go? I need some silence here. So I'm going to take this thing. Command C, copy, click at the end where it snaps, paste, and then Command L to silence it. Now I have some silence to work with. I'm going to select this stuff, effect, reverb, which I have a hotkey here, but so you can see it in the menu a little bit. I'm leaving these settings. This is the space sound I'm going with, so I'm just using it. And now I'm going to listen to this. Select all. I'm going to mute this and hit play. So it's kind of there. It's a little quiet, so I'm just going to double click this part, not raising the whole track volume. I just want this new reverb only part to be louder. I'm going to effect amplify, and I'm going to bump it like, I don't know, 6 dB, right? You can check these meters on the side. They don't really do anything for me, just how big it is in the window. And that looks pretty good. I want to get, almost as big as the other thing. So if you go up, you do have a last thing you did available, repeat right here. So I just want to do that amplify a couple of times. So I'm going to hit Command R, Command R, Command R, right? Command R. And maybe one more. No, see, not one more. Too big. Command Z. And now I'm going to select all and play it. There we go. See what I'm saying? And it cut off. But that's okay. I'm going to just fade this out right here. Command G. Command A. See? And that's only a segment of the sound. It's only a piece of the puzzle. I'm going to add this thing back in. And I've reverbed only this middle part. And let's listen to the difference of what this sounds like compared to the whole thing. I'm hearing like a metallic-y twing in there. It's kind of cool, like a bolt is hitting a plasma beam. Sure. Now let's listen to the original. It's kind of there. And I could increase this like I kind of did the other thing. And then... See, I didn't change any EQ or anything. I just made a different segment of the sound be what gets echoed out, not the entire sound. It's kind of like frequency dependent or sound dependent, ambience. So I like that sound better. And that is this track and this track combined. So I'm going to put them back together in the mix when I'm done. So I'm done with this thing. I'm going to get rid of it. Here's an X, gets rid of the whole track. And I liked the way I was working before with my first sound up top. You can click on this blank spot right here in the track header, click and hold, and you can drag it to another position. So I'm rearranging my tracks. Back to the punchy thing up top. Now it's 2 waves. And then we got our rattlesnake thing going here. My space rattlesnake. Command A to listen to all. Play. Cool. I think that if this is in the same outer space zone as this, since this is coming from the same whatever, it should have the same quality as the sound. I need some reverb on this. I'm going to select all, copy. No, that's not what I'm doing. Select all of this guy, copy. Go over to the end, click off of it, and then come back to the snap point, paste. And this copy I just pasted, long gone. Command L. Now it's silence. I can't see it, so I'm going to Command A, Command E, and now I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to... Now, obviously, this is really... We're getting like a 1.5-second long blast. But you know what? Maybe that's okay, because they're just going to overlap anyway. What's a little lag on a fire blade? Give me more audio. So I'm going to put... I'm going to put like this much, and then I'll end up trimming it off. So let's just do some verb on here. Okay. It's not a lot. Okay. And you're never going to hear that, but this is making it nice. So I'm going to just click my mouse where I think it should stop. like somewhere around here. So I'm just going to click this, anything after there, click and drag. I'm hitting delete. And Command A, Command E. Now I can see everything. Clearly that cuts off, so I'm going to select that segment straight through to the end. Command G, fade it out. Command A, Command E, play. Yeah, so that works for me. Now this was, let's see, Blast01. Originally, it used to sound like this. See? And now I got this. Now this is a bit excessive, I totally agree. Now let's look at the meter before we do anything else. Oh, we got way too much sound. That reverb adds a good amount of power to this wave, so I gotta turn that down. And watch for when it peaks. Like if it's right at the beginning, obviously it's this punchy sound, which it clearly is. The trick is these are kind of tied together. Yeah, I could merge them, just leave them and do the same thing, because you're gonna, all these get mixed together to one mono wave on the way out. And we'll talk about that. See down here, project rate. This is where you set it in preferences, but that might just always keep an eye on that. That should be what you leave it at, because you set it there. So yeah, these are in direct relationship with one another at this point. So I want to keep these identical. So if I do -1 on one of them, the other one's getting it too. And look at that. Taking 1 dB out of both of these keeps us out of blowing up speaker bill. And, you know, for a rough whatever, call that good. Now here's how you get this into your font again. File, export as wave. Look what I got here, a hotkey. I do this so many times, pinky on shift, thumb on command, and then W. So I'm exporting waves. This is how you do it. You hit export to wave. I'll just do it from the menu. Okay. And where do you want it to go? Well, where was I anyway? I was doing the mob blasts. I'll talk about this some other time. I don't know why it's creating these actually. I didn't do any macros. Okay, and this was the folder it came from, because I know that's where I came from. And I'm going to overwrite the old one. You could not overwrite the old one. You can go rescue the old. Jeez, I left that open. You know, let's make a folder out of these items called Fix Me. Right? So this should be a point too. Now that we're, what do you mean nope? Now that we're into the export phase, how Audacity handles files, it is not actually opening, now it's in here, but this blast one that I double clicked to open in Audacity, it loaded the data and made a copy. And we've been working in a workspace this whole time. Nothing has happened to that WAV file. So that's great. However, now I'm going to directly overwrite the one that I got this from. I have a copy somewhere else of the source. It's probably a good idea to do. You know what? I'm not going to overwrite it. It's just an answer to one more prompt. It's probably, are you sure you want to overwrite that? You say yes. That's it. We won't do that. I'll just go right here in the blast folder. All right. We'll just add that. And then OK. And then I'm going to go take a look. See? Hey, look. This showed up. I hit space. It's this crazy blast with way too much. All right, so I don't love it, and I can't let it go because this is way too much rattlesnake. Now it's a little quiet in here. That's just because of the way I got things mixed to the recording. That's terrible. Select all. Yeah, it's just too much of this. Too long. So I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to cut everything else from that point off. And then I'm going to select this, Command G to fade it out. Select this, Command G to fade that much out. Because why not? Command A, Command E. And then, yeah, that's better. I could even lose a little sound from it. Yeah, that's much better, I guess. So there. So I made it. I didn't like it. I came back in. I did a little touch up. So you just do the same thing again. You're going to overwrite, export this workspace to a file. I should have mentioned down here, first time you do it, it's like one-time setup for doing these things. You pick 16-bit wave. Came out of a 44.1 project. And yeah, and we're going to hit OK. When I hit save this time, there's your warning. You sure you want to do that? Yep. It'll also, I think you could turn this off in preferences. I like to leave it because these are ID3 tags, or it's metadata for their header. It's header information for your WAV file. If this is cluttered with stuff and like ampersands and band names and what software created it and all this stuff goes in here. Soundboards don't need that, and they don't like it sometimes, so it's best to just be in the habit of having no metadata tags added onto here. You don't need it, just the file name is what you need. So I just kind of let it pop up. Sometimes I'll see something in there, you know. Oh, this was created by Audition. I was like, oh, why? Anyway, you hit OK, and now it has exported the new, overwritten this. And now I should have less. Yeah. So let's say that's good. Now I'm going to do one more because I'll probably do different stuff. Maybe we'll do some EQ. So then when you close, this is like, do you want to close this workspace? Do you want to save this workspace project? And I don't need to come back in here. I mean, I could. You could save this, be like, oh yeah, that's how I created it, and you can go in and keep it for editing. You could say yes. Let's say yes. And then, you know, in your font folder or somewhere else, you can make a folder called, you know, I don't know, whatever, projects or, you know, edits. Yeah, I'll call it an edits and say okay. And Blast One's project file will be in there. Okay, great. So anyway, it closed that down. If you hit Audacity, you just get a new. We don't need new. We need the next boot. What do you call it? Fix Me Blast, right? So we did one. This is the original. This is the redo. Still too much, obviously, but we're just playing for now. So let's listen to this one. Kind of notey. Wow, I like that. I want to take this one's. Let's do this, and I know what I'll put with it. Double click it, open it up. Here's the wave. I'm gonna get my other sound. Do another force. I got a high pitch wheelie one. That's it. So we're gonna take this. Now this has its own punchy tune. If I add that cumulative, you know, audio volume with this wave, they go through the ceiling. I really don't need that at all. I just need some of this. You know, if we speed that up, you get like a, you know. So let's do that. I'm going to copy, Command C. I'm going to Command W and close this window, same as this. Do you want to save this? No, I just used it to grab something. Click under this, Command V to paste, Command A, E. That's pretty long. Great. That's cool. I'm going to take only half, select this, delete, Command A, E. Okay. Let's just fade this, just Command G, Alt, E. Now, we'll just go to, let's, I'll do it on the other wave. This I'm going to go with the change tempo again. It's high-pitched enough. It's kind of complementing that enough. I don't need to change the pitch. So I'm just going to speed it up, and somewhere around 75. Here is here. You can actually just type it in here. Hit OK. You could have previewed it if you want, but right now it's starting right at the beginning with this one. what you could do, I want it to kind of start, let this have its day in the sun, and then this will be like a secondary part to it. So I'm going to actually just delete this. Well, here's what happens. Now, if you delete from the beginning, you see how it shifted everything to fill the hole? Command Z, undo. What you can't really do that. You could split the clip here. If I hit, clip split, then I could delete this section. No, I can't. See, so the point is, don't try to delete it. If you just don't want that on at all, Command L, long gone. Just silence. All right. Then I'm going to fade this part in sort of along the same curve that's going. So as this is tapering off, this is going to kind of mix in. See? A little crossfade action. So Command D. Now watch this. I'm going to select from here to here. Notice I'm not at the sound doesn't start at a boundary. I'm going to select like I do over here to fade. I can click out here and drag. If you click here and drag, Command D for fade in, the left side, right? Look, I'm going to zoom in, Command 1, 1, 1. Make this bigger. That started just like the selection has. It started 0 here and then started fading in. So by the time you ramp up to this point, you're already here. That's still not 0. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to undo that. Oh, what did I do? Okay, I'm going to redo the delete. And then I'm going to start from actually the beginning of the audio. And you can shift click and adjust the edges of these things. See the little finger? I got it. I'm going to pull it this way. There you go. So this is really the effective fade in zone. So, there's a couple of things I've been saying. It's fade in and fade out on D and G is not command. It's actually control. It's the far left one. I don't know what you're going to do on a Mac, on a Windows. Maybe it's the Windows key. All right. So anyway, it's a different shortcut. But we're fading this in. That's the point. Like that. And I'm going to zoom out so we can see it. And it kind of fades in as that's going out. Select all. Play. I dig it. Maybe a little faster. Just a little bit. A little bit. All right, so I'm going to make it point like somewhere in here, 0.5. It is 75. Yeah, I want it to be 0.5. So it's kind of already there for me. It knows me. Select all, play. Great. Now I'm going to stick it now to space with some reverb. You know what, before I do that, let me look at my meter. Oh, look at that. Because I crossfaded this, it didn't really overlap two loud sounds. It's as this is giving up, this is coming in. So maintained under 0, right at 0, which is what we want. So far so good there. Had you pasted this and it was like punching the red, you could adjust it again, either with amplify or you could just lower the track. In that case. Either one would be fine. Something like this where it's kind of close to the edge and it's fitting well. Once files like that, just kind of try to leave those. Taking it away from it, it's like you're taking sound away that you might need later. So I was going to EQ something. Yeah, let's listen to just this one. I'm going to mute him. Select all, play. I like the thump, but let's say it's got a little too much that note, right? So we're gonna get rid of some. So this is a basic EQ method. We're gonna search and destroy some of the right? So under effects, let's just use a basic built-in graphic EQ, right? And we're going to hit flatten to be back to base. This is not adding any dB. It's not taking away. You ever have a graphic EQ in your car, your cassette player, your Kenwood up in the glove box, glowing orange. No? All right. And yeah, I'm going to listen to what it sounds like. Unaffected, obviously. Sounds the same. I want to find that. And it's probably somewhere around. And if you roll over these, it tells you what frequency you're affecting. There is another one. I'll just show you. What am I doing? Go to Graphic EQ. If you have these AU plugins, which I think most Macs do, some Windows machines have VST plugins, whatever you can do. But this one's nice because it shows you the frequencies. God forbid you're working in an EQ. Why do you need these? It's too much information. Who needs scroll bars? We don't need to see them until you roll over it. That was a mini rant. Sorry. Let's do it in here because I'm here now. I'm over here now. I was there, now I'm here. Sorry. Okay, so graphic EQ for the is what we're looking for, right? So let's listen. Let's increase something. Let's really actually beat the hell out of something. Hey, I was pretty close, right? I mean, it's not this. This is going to be like shh. Tween. It's actually sweet. So see, trying to fix something, you might get creatively something else happen. I kind of like adding some of these twings in here. And I am going to take away a little bit of that. That's actually a lot. I mean, it's almost 6 dB. This one's up 12. That's crazy. Don't go that high. All right, but see, now it sounds too flat. So I think we still need a little bit of that. Not all of it, though, see? And then this will come down, so it's not like a... It's still a little much. Just minor touches in here. Here, you can turn it off and compare. I think. Is this thing... Hello? Was this thing on? Sometimes plugins can be a little weird. They might work. Okay. Sometimes they don't. And you have to jiggle the handle. All right. Anyway, let's say you wanted to change a little bit of that twang. You pick an EQ curve, you hit apply. Now, see what I did here? This is plus 3 to 6 dB in these frequencies. So I just added, I sucked a little away here. And bass waves are much more contributory to volume. Is that a word? Contributory? They add more to the overall volume because they're huge waves. So anyway, we added some, and now I got to make sure I didn't go overboard. I'm going to zoom in and take a look at this wave and see if I clipped this. Clipping is when you go through the ceiling or the floor. It's really close. I'm not really squaring waves. I'm right at the, you almost went too far. But if these were all like super flat, squished against the ceiling, undo, try again. What's that? Family Feud? Try again. So great. I'm going to zoom out. Command A, Command E. I can see everything. I made some EQ change. My window got small on me. And I'm going to now put these in outer space with the reverb because that was what I was doing, right? I'm going to select this, give myself some silence to create a reverb tail in. Paste that and silence it. I might as well paste it here too because I'm just going to silence it. And I'm going to unmute this. And I'm going to select, mute that. Yeah, just give me some reverb on that. Not reverse. Reverse is cool, but that's not what I meant to do. So I'm going to Command R because I know that's, wow, really? It's not reverb. Oh, I forgot Shift. Command Shift R. There's my reverb panel. Sure. Yeah, just a little bit of ambience. That's nice. And then I'm going to go up to here, and I'm going to shut that off. I want that little... That sounds good when I grab just that. Command I to split, copy, silence, down here and paste it, move it so it snaps into where it was. Right there. Nope. There. And then copy, click, snap to, paste, Command L. I made my silence. I want to select all this, I guess. Reverb that. Okay. That's too quiet. Select all. Amplify. I have a hotkey to amplify. It's too much. Select all. Mute, play. That's ridiculous. But let's just E. Fade that out. When that mixes back in, you'll never even gonna hear this. But just for fun, just Alright, everything stops at a different time, so we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna select like everything after and delete. I'm gonna make sure this is fading out. Control G, and Control G, A, E with the command. Select all, play. I don't know. Now here's another thing you could do. Let's say I want to universally, reverb all these in one shot. You can go up here to track, tracks, mix. You basically submix as you go here. You can mix and render everything that's here at the volume balances they're at to a new track. So it's sort of like exporting, but right back into the same working project in one combined track. But I want to make sure my levels are good before I do that. See, I had a red there. I'm blasting it, so it's way too much. I EQ'd this. I got to bring that down a little by 2. This is part of the same sound. Move the track up. All, play. Okay, good. So we're back under. I could probably give this some more because I got room. A little more. One more. Whoops. 3. Let's try 5. That's too much of that. So, even though I got volume to play with, I guess I go back up 1. This was 2, I'm going up 1. Yeah. So I'm not clipping. Let's say that's the sound. Still, you'll never hear those tails anyway. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to track, mix and render to new track. Okay, so it just mixed these in this relationship to one another. And I can now mute this and mute this and mute this, and I can hit play. So this one wave is what I can work with. Come on, Command A, Command E, so I can see everything. So let's add a little more reverb just for fun, because it still sounds abrupt to me, even though you'll never hear it. I'm going to copy this piece of junk, copy, scroll over to the end of this. I'm going to paste it here, Command L to silence it. I'm going to zoom out because I can't see what's going on here. And I want all this, not the boom and the punch, but just like that tone. I just want that to carry out a little more. So I'm going to just reverb that since I'm in space, say okay. It's cutting off, but I'll fade it out. I won't even listen. I'll just fade it out now. All, play. That's way too much. So that sounds terrible. So undo. Oh, undo again. I don't know. Why is it so damn... Did I change a setting in there? I don't know. Reverb's... It's not great reverb. It's just way too big. This is really what you're supposed to do, preview it. This is how much it's gonna, how long it's gonna tail off for. And this is the sound it'll have. So I kind of want that big spacey sound, but I don't want it to go for too long. Whatever. Again, this is more showing you how to use the tools in here as opposed to theory for sound font. Sorry, but that was the point. All right, so let's say that's good. Okay, now that's reverbed. I don't need this, although we could save it. Let's leave it because we're going with that whole should save my work stuff. If these are muted when it mixes on export to wave, it's only going to give you what you got. So if you leave these muted, what you see here is what's going to become the new Blast 3. So I'm going to go File, Export, Wave. And I don't know why it's adding these. We'll talk about macros some other time. I just want it in the Blast folder. Save. And I don't need tags. And then that's it. So now I got a new Blast 3. This is the old one. And this is the new one. Oh. So yeah, these will need some, oh nice, tweaking. But for now, that has certainly been the longest video I've ever heard of in my life. And I made it. Yeah. I'm going to peace out.